Hi, hey everybody. So, welcome to Educational Advocacy, where we do a series of talks about all things dealing with special education. Today, we're going to be talking about the foundation of special education, and that's, of course, an IEP. But before I kind of dive in, I want to introduce my special guest host here today. She hails from the University of North Texas, where she was an amazing co-captain of the dance team. She is also a speech language pathologist major, and she currently works in the SLC, which is a structured learning classroom. But I'm going to let her tell a little bit more about herself. Evan, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, my name is Evan Hill. I graduated from the University of North Texas with the Bachelor of Science in Speech Language Pathology and Audiology. I am currently working as a paraprofessional in a structured learning classroom where I think you can have a maximum of 8 kids in the classroom. Right now, we are currently at 6, so that's fun. We deal with nonverbal autistic children.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. And so you kind of know about the IEP and that you're one of the people in the classroom who's implementing the IEP. We have the question of the day, Evan, here on our series. And the question of the day is, what is an IEP and why is it important for students in special education? So that's going to be our overarching question. But first, on this series, we have the joke of the day. All right, you ready? Why did Mia's parents become an expert reader of her IEP?
I don't know why.
Because they knew the best way to help Mia was to turn the page on her challenges. Cue to laugh. We don't have a laugh. I know. We got to kind of bring a little joy and a little upliftment to this aspect of what we do. So before we kind of really dive into that overarching question, I want to talk a little bit more about Mia. So Mia is a student who struggled with reading until her parents really knew and understood how to not only read her IEP, but how to advocate for her when they were in those IEP meetings. As her parents understood her strengths and challenges, they were then able to partner with the school to provide the right support for Mia. And so today, of course, she is thriving. Are there still challenges? Of course there are, because it's a human thing. But she is thriving. And this just goes to show how powerful the IEP process can be. So I'm going to kick it over to Evan. Evan, talk to me about what you know about an IEP.
So, an IEP stands for an Individualized Education Plan. It's a document legally binding which shows that educational plan for the child with disabilities. It could be called a roadmap for success, but it also highlights all the different points you need to address with the child to make sure that their needs are met. And you have to, it's legally binding.
Thank you. And so, from my experience, there are like different aspects of it. So, at the very beginning, so when I'm in an ARD meeting, we always look at the present levels of performance. And so, under the present levels, there's the academics. And so, within the academics, that's just a little picture of how the child is doing in all the subjects like reading, math, and science. And then there's the functional aspect of the PLAF. And then this tells how is the kid managing everyday activities, what's going on with their social skills, what's going on with their organization. And then in the behavioral section, this is where we're looking at how is the child behaving in the school. And when we talk about behavior, we want to look at what are their challenges and what are their strengths. I will tell you that this is probably one of the most kind of can get kind of contentious aspects of the IEP meeting, because it's just not quite clear that everything is not all about how naughty the kid is, but it's also about what's going on with them in school and with those challenges. Evan, what do you know about data? When we look at that PLAF, what do you know about the data? What does that data do for us?
Um, It tells the story. We use the grades, the scores, all the observations to understand like what it is about the child, where they are today, and what type of support they need in order to move forward with them.
And then you're a teacher, so kind of talk to us about your input, your teacher input, and in this aspect of the IEP.
Um, I feel like our input is important in regards to making those goals and setting those accommodations because you are the one who sees firsthand what they're dealing with, and not necessarily to say like you know what they can and can't handle, but you have a better grasp on where's this child at right now, where can I see them going. So I feel like the teacher input is so critical because as far like as the year goes, we do see them more majority of the time. We see them 8 hours of the day, while their parents are off at work and stuff. So we kind of get to see what happens when their parents aren't around, what happens when they come home from break, like those types of things.
Oh, that's good. I like what you said about when they come home from break. If there was one piece of advice that you could give to parents who are kind of, trying to navigate this IEP process, what are some things that kind of come to your mind?
Coming home from break and parents
Hmm.
work, I would say you can kind of see how much they did at home versus what they didn't. I know like having a child with special needs, it does require more hands-on attention than I would say a gen ed child needs. Just because when they come home from break or when they're on break, you they want to have that time to do nothing and all that stuff, but that actually could be really detrimental to them for when they come back because those kids need routine, they need stability, they need structure. It's a lot easier for a gen ed kid to hop back into that routine rather than a special needs child.
That's good insight. And I've seen that as well. I know that some of the case managers at my school kind of have it written in the accommodation as well as in the schedule of services that they will meet with their student like about 15 minutes before we're leaving to go on a long break. And then some of them even have sent home like a to-do list of like things for the kids to do over the break. It may not be like a whole homework thing, but we're kind of thinking about our autistic kids, the kids, like you said, who need that structure and routine. And so the really good case managers kind of send home this little checklist for the kid to manage, because I'm in high school, you're in middle school, for the kid to manage, and just a little daily thing for them to do, just something for them to kind of still kind of tap in, tune in, and not just get totally off track from like doing absolutely nothing. And then they also meet with that kid. They're there to meet with that kid when we return. So like when we come back from this break, on Monday morning, they are looking at having some meetings with some of our students who kind of need a little bit more TLC, a little bit more time to kind of get back reacclimated into the school environment. Just as you mentioned, even though they had that checklist, they're walking back into that building. And so they just want to be there as that soft landing to kind of help the kids just get back into the routine of school. And it's just a conversation that most of them have. But I think that's something that's really good. And I like seeing that when I'm auditing the IEP. Well, Evan, I do want to thank you for kind of joining us in this episode one. As you provided some great insight as a teacher and a person who does assist with implementing the IEP. So there are a couple of takeaways I want to recap for today. So I love what Evan said about the IEP being a roadmap. And it's a roadmap because it's tailored to each child's unique needs. We also talked about those present levels of performance. And in that area, we looked at the academics, we looked at the functional, we looked at the behavioral, and that PLAF is the foundation of the IEP. Everything else is built off of that PLAF. And as we continue through this series, we're going to talk about the other pieces of the IEP. Evan also weighed in on the value, the most important value of teacher input, as well as how that data is essential for the success, or should I say, the successful implementation of the IEP, which of course is going to lead to the success of the child. I want to leave you all with this today. Every child can learn. However, it is our job to figure out how. So join us next week as we discuss the how past state performance data can help shape a child's IEP goals and accommodations. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for joining me. Bye.